There was once an old-growth forest that covered much of Louisiana. It's gone now, and yet the old timber lives on, transmogrified into the old bones that comprise so many of the old houses here. It was the fabric and texture of its trees and houses that hypnotized me. Together they create a kind of nest-like atmosphere that feels protected, not from the elements, obviously, but from the brutality of sameness that afflicts so much of everywhere else. The neighborhoods of New Orleans are a dense patchwork of gorgeous oak trees and creeping vines within which, in glorious rows that stretch on for blocks and blocks and miles, are the old houses, mansions, shotgun shacks, ruins, museum pieces, lining the streets pell-mell as far as the eye can see. These houses in New Orleans, often modest-looking from the outside, make a visitor from the coasts stop in their tracks and stare open-mouthed at the dimension of the rooms. It's the height of the ceilings and the lengths of the windows and the feelings of grandeur and complication. We fell for a house, my wife and I. It was like in a romantic comedy. In the meet-cute, we walk into the house together. My wife walks in one direction, I walk in the other, each of us in charge of a child. We reconvene a few minutes later in the living room. The pleasant chatter of an open house fills the air as we look at each other with a mixture of elation and alarm. Inspectors came to give the place a once-over. The good news was there was a roof, walls, and no serious termite damage. Otherwise, it was held together with duct tape. I stared at the house. It's 100 years old, I thought. How can it last much longer? On the other hand, it has come this far without falling over. Truman Capote, I was told, grew up on this very block. He once wrote, "New Orleans streets have long, lonesome perspectives. In empty hours, their atmosphere is like Chirico." This was in a 1946 homage to the city's weirdness. I looked up and down the street, and I decided to value it for its vanishing perspectives, north to the lake and south to the river. There was something else, too, that moved me about the house and the city. There was that vanished forest in Louisiana. Not the vast acreage of pine that makes up the northern part of the state. This was more local to New Orleans in the south. It was gone now, cut down to build the houses that now populate New Orleans, which means the city itself is a kind of man-made forest. That my house was built with this old wood pleased me for some reason. Another way the city smuggles its complicated past into the future. I sit in it now, early in the morning, pausing from my work to walk to the windows and see the earliest wedge of light coloring the sky, the richness of the dusk's blue autumnal light having its corollary in the brightening colors of dawn.